Hey, you guys. Hope all is well with you this morning. So, in the past videos, I've gotten into hierarchy that's transitioning in the next 100 to 300 years or so into harmonization. And I relate that to John's vision in Revelation 21, the bride or the feminine energy of God healing the nations by the nations celebrating each other. It would demand equality, it would demand um, what is in seed form as BLM and Obama to actually be personified. But anyway, I'm going to go back to a dream I had where a woman was about to be captured by a CIA or some kind of intelligence agency. She needed to get a message to me. There was a message to me kind of in code that only I would understand. And so she said on this note, because it was Uber Eats was being delivered, and she said on this note, I didn't put sugar in the woman's iced tea. It was like 2 iced teas and 2 burgers delivered to me. The note said I didn't put sugar in the woman's iced tea, and so as I woke up from that, it was like, okay, I sense very strongly there was a message wanting to communicate to me here. And then I said, so God, what is this about? And what came to me was, remember in 2022 and 2021 when you just let loose and spoke that activism, anti-racist message without you just bolted it out. And instead of afterwards feeling, oh, I shouldn't have said that, that was low vibrational, that was anger. You remember God was like, remember when you noticed that you were taken higher in the spirit world. Your beingness was formed as a direct result of that. There was a greater elevation. Your energy was raised to a higher vibration as a result of doing that. Remember that? I was like, yeah. And so God was like, the feminine energy does not need anything added to it. Does not need. See, in the Piscean age, it was all about male headship. The woman in the home needed a male covering, male guidance, the husband's guidance. So when we made that metaphor in the Piscean age, which is over, we said that's not man and woman, that's spirit and soul. So the soul realm, the emotions, her job is to just align with her husband, the spirit. The problem is when the age changes, the spirit has to change but can't change. And so it's the woman's job through her activism to change the spirit. The spirit of the age is hierarchy. And the hierarchy is the spirit. And the spirit says, I am the Lord and cannot change. I am the Lord, I do not change. So Eve had to give the forbidden fruit to Adam so that the cool of the day, which is the spirit of the age, the spirit of the era, this is a metaphor, could actually change. So in other words, the woman did not need to have sugar added to her nature. She already had the sugar. You already had the fulfillment. In other words, when I spoke out so aggressively, the sugar is the fulfillment of joy. The sugar is the sweetness of beingness. The sugar is how I felt in the coming days after speaking against Trumpism so aggressively. Trumpism is a representation of colonialism and hierarchy. It has nothing to do with anything else. Politics ended the day we elected a black man. Politics were over. There was no more politics. There was only a plotting of revenge for hierarchy and white supremacists, because that is being destroyed as we speak, and it happens through activism. Now, visualization is good. That's the masculine blueprint. That's the sperm. But the sperm, think of properties of in quantum physics. They say properties of movement and properties of object, or is it light? Okay, light. What do they call that? Wave and object. So wave properties and object properties. So wave properties are the movement of the particles of potentiality, and they have an intelligence. Wave properties have an intelligence. They seek out the options of what they could collapse into as a reality. Through their intelligence, they seek out the destinies. They seek out the options and the potentials. Which potential do I want to land in or collapse into reality? Because that's the egg. The egg is the reality that the sperm collapses into. The sperm is the vision. Here I know, I the Lord know the end from the beginning. You visualize and you decree a positive outcome. So like in the movie, when the guy yells, Sparta, what is it? Anyway, Spartacus. When there was a visual of victory, the sperm, but then there was the passionate expressions from the feminine energy, even though it was made through a very masculine male persona. So when I say feminine energy, I'm not talking about a womanly personality or something that is effeminate in nature. Like in Spartacus, this is the very muscled up masculine men, but the feminine energy is the egg that carries out the birthing process through activism, or in their case, warfare. So when, if they, like in, back to my wrestling days, if I had an inner knowing that I was going to win the free, after the school season, then there's the freestyle season, the individual season. If I had an inner knowing I was going to take first place in the state wrestling tournament, and I just said, well, I have an inner knowing, so that's it. I'm not going to train. I'm not going to work out. I had this inner knowing that I was going to win the state title. And I don't allow the visual of knowing the end from the beginning, the positive outcome in my decree and in my visualization. I don't allow it to inseminate the egg, which is the working out, the walking out, the carrying it out, and the passionate going forward. If I don't do that, I wouldn't even place in the tournament, much less get first place. So we can visualize MLK's dream of racial equality, gender equality. But if we don't do the passionate activism, it'll never happen. So the passionate activism was the sperm, or the masculine blueprint. We allow through activism, we allow it to impregnate the earthen relational reality. The earthen relational reality is the object property where it collapses as a reality. It does not collapse as a reality if there is a stronghold in the way. You can just visualize only if you just need a good parking spot, or if you lost your keys and you need to find your keys somewhere in your apartment. There's no stronghold in the way. Or you're an attractive person and you want a hot date. Well, use the law of attraction to get what you want. There's no stronghold in the way. You're not a marred, obese, impoverished man. If you were, that would be a stronghold that would be in the way. You might want to, so, the activism, the feminine energy would have to kick in to remove the stronghold of the hindrance to where you could get in a little bit better shape, get your hygiene going, get you enough money to be able to have a few good dates. So activism for racism is the same thing. If there's a stronghold in the way, you can visualize all you want. It's not going to make a dent in the social infrastructure. Only through activism can that happen, and the woman needs no sugar added. The fulfillment, the consciousness stream, of the feminine energy that does the actual work, so that the masculine blueprint vision can actually happen, can actually find an egg to fall into and impregnate for a new day. That can actually happen if you're doing the work. If you're not doing the work, then the visualization, it just goes on the ground. It does not actually impregnate the egg. It does not collapse into a real reality. Again, you want a little extra energy on a long drive, law of attraction only. That's all you need. Faith, you have what you say. Speak it into existence. Speak it into existence, and the energy comes. You are a wealthy, white, attractive, suburbanite, straight Christian man, and you want to climb the higher corporate ladder, speak it only. Just speak it in faith, and it'll happen. But if you are a brown person from immigrant parents and you are gay and you are a practitioner of Santeria, you've got a lot of work to do, bud, because you're not getting up just because you spoke it into existence. You don't have what you say in those instances. You've got social hierarchy strongholds, demonic strongholds. Demonic strongholds are in your way. And so rare is the person who gets through the cracks on those situations. And such people would be the exception rather than the rule. So that's why Dispenza's ways of doing things will work for wealthy, white, attractive, straight suburbanites in a way that they won't work for other people. And it makes them... So white privilege is not what you get handed to you. White privilege is what you don't have to go through. You don't have... Like Tim Scott, the senator, he said he was pulled over by the police 7 times in 1 year for no reason whatsoever other than driving while being black. But you can, as Tim Scott, be engrafted, like Kanye and Candace, be engrafted into the hierarchy of white supremacy and bow down and worship it because you want to be considered as one of the people that is on that top hierarchy. So you will live in denial of the stronghold for your own culture and sell your soul to the devil, which is hierarchy in the time of harmonization. 2,000 years ago, selling your soul to the devil would have been the law of Moses in the time of Jesus' grace. The word of Jesus and grace reality, identity in Christ that fulfills the law. That word is published, it's going forth, it's activating in society, and boom, you choose the law because you get a higher place in society. Caiaphas, the high priest, raises you up. Instead of being like Stephen, who was stoned to death in Acts chapter 7. So Stephen could have just said, okay, Pharisees, I'm not going to tell you what's on my heart from the Lord. I'm just going to agree with you that the law of Moses is the way we should do things. And they would not have killed him. They would have said, oh, good, this is a good day. We have restored a brother who was starting to go astray. I remember many years ago, I confronted a man who had, this was an absolute, there was no question about it. He had committed a rape, and I confronted him. And for 30 minutes, he just kept changing this. Oh, you mean when we went swimming? No, I'm saying when you're in the hotel room and this took place. Oh, no. You mean when we went in the hot tub and we were just swimming? We were just swimming. What are you talking about? We were just swimming. No. And then, oh, you mean lunch? We had lunch. That's all we did was go out to lunch at Arby's. It's not what I'm talking about. And that's a national defense mechanism as well as a personal defense mechanism to change the subject and not face reality. So on a national level, when you're addicted to hierarchy and your hierarchical nature and white supremacy comes into view and is shown to you through activists, white people, instead of acknowledging that, yeah, we believe that non-whites are savages deep down, from a deep down place, that gay people are mentally ill. We believe that in a deep down place. We're not going to ever vote for people who would give them equality with us, or we'll never ever do that. We swear to the depths of our soul that we will always vote for people who will give us the top of the rung in the hierarchy, white, straight, Christian males and their property, including their wives. And instead of admitting to that, they say, oh, no, it's Satanists, the elite Satanists. They're the ones that are oppressing us. They're oppressing us. We've got to unite around Trump to defeat the elite Satanists. Just like that man said, oh, no, Arby's lunch. We couldn't have. No, we were in the pool. No, we were in front of people. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the hotel room afterwards. Oh, no, we were in public the hotel, So it's a defense mechanism. Are there Satanists in this world who commit human sacrifice? Yes. They're what white culture would call trailer trash. And people who do that, as we see with E.A. Coetting, they go insane. They reap what they sow very quickly. The death energy that they put out there comes back on them very quickly, and they are destroyed human beings. They are not people of great position and prominence in this world. But white people need to say that they are, so that they will never, ever, ever have to confront that they are the elites that are dead set on ruling. That they are the people who will not give up their place in the hierarchy. So they'll say, no, we're victims. The satanic elites in Hollywood. Hollywood are actors. The people in the arts are the feminine energy that are healing the world. People in the arts are the ones who can depict through prophetic imagery the forthcoming world, the unveiled world, the world that is yet to come, where there is perfect equality. Hollywood movies are doing that. Oprah is doing that. Obama is doing that. BLM is doing this, showing you the world to come, tasting of the powers of the world to come, the world of equality where the nations start celebrating each other. The gender spectrums, the ethnicity start celebrating each other as equals instead of vying for the highest place on the rung. And because these people are showing the way, white, straight, Christian culture has this desperate need to say they're all Satanists sacrificing babies to Satan. They all sell children. Hillary and Obama and all these people, they sell children on the black market to divert the attention from what needs to be seen, from what needs to be acknowledged, from what needs to be discussed, so that we can overcome hierarchy, mentality, supremacy consciousness, and chosen race supremacy consciousness. So that we can overcome this cancer that's destroying us, and we can enter into harmonization with all. And the feminine energy of activism does not need sugar added. The fulfillment and the joy is inherent in the action of the activism. That's what I was showing in the dream. And so God was saying, remember when you spoke to the principality, this was on Facebook, when you spoke to the principality of white supremacy, not in the world, but in the New Age leaders and in the Christian leaders, and you said, I will end you. And remember how Sibel Clements said, I really like this direction you're going in. And another spiritual said, man, that's really powerful. It should have been like, well, I should have been demoted in the spirit world. No, I was raised higher in the spirit world, because it wasn't anger for anger's sake. It was the masculine and the feminine conjoined in one voice, so that it has the vision of positive outcome for ethnic equality. It has that vision inside of it. It has that vision in it. It has that seed impregnate, but it's in what? No longer wave properties, but object properties. It has the wave properties of visualization of peace and ethnic equality. The destruction of white supremacy is in the vision. It's in the wave properties. But God was ministering to me that when you spoke so aggressively, your wave properties collapsed into the egg, or the object properties, to bring forth something that is tangible impartation, not just spiritual impartation, but tangible human to human impartation from the feminine energy. So when the man yells at the top of his lungs, Spartacus, or whatever it was, victory, or whatever it was, that's the feminine energy. Feminine energy does not mean a feminine personality. That was as masculine as it gets. But it was the feminine energy, whereas in prayer earlier, if he saw a vision of victory, that was the masculine energy, though it's the wave properties, the object properties of the actual warfare, the actual action it takes to get to there. Otherwise, if you just trust, well, I saw a vision of us winning, of them surrendering, so we're not going to even go on the battlefield because I saw that vision, so it's a done deal. It is done. Jesus said, it is finished. So since it is finished, we're not even going to do anything. Well, then they would have lost the battle. Just like I would have lost the wrestling meet if I didn't do the preparations. So the egg is the tangible, real, daily, 7 days a week walk that is in agreement with the vision. So when a family sits down and their 18-year-old has a severe opioid problem, he's in the opioid crisis, and when he gets high, he does destructive things to his family. So they have to have a sit-down conversation. Now, Dad may have had a vision earlier that he's going to be fine, but that doesn't mean they don't have the meeting. They have the meeting, and people are yelling at each other at the top of their lungs, and a physical fight breaks out that they have to restrain a couple of the people. Let's say 10 people in the family get together to have this talk. People aren't being judgmental. They're just being like, look, how are we going to end this? You've you stabbed your sister and you stole your parents' electronics, sell for drugs. You stole your mom's jewelry to sell for drugs. How we got to do something. This is an intervention. So the dad's vision, oh, he's going to be healed. I speak in perfect faith, with my emotions aligning with the vision, and I decree with my words, so my will, my desire, and my belief all perfectly align as I raise the vibration through chant or dance and shoom, speak that word and impregnate the seed. Impregnate the egg. But when the egg is impregnated, does it manifest as the feminine energy to give birth? The woman is the one that gives birth, not the man. The woman is the one who does the work to give birth. The man just has the orgasmic bliss in the orgasm. No baby is born without a man having an orgasm. So the masculine blueprint feels bliss in the feeling and knowing and believing and speaking that it is finished. It is already done. My son is already healed. He's already been through rehab. I've been to the future. I've been to his future and I've seen that it is very good. But if you leave it right there, it'll never, ever happen because there's a demonic stronghold that stands in between you and the final result. You've got to use the feminine energy to deal with a real problem in a real way. And everybody's real. Everybody's shouting and then crying and shouting and then crying. And then holding each other. And finally, he breaks down. This is the 10th meeting they've had. Finally, he breaks down. Not as a show like in the past. Says, I'll do better. Not as a show, but in fucking reality, he breaks down and says, I'm going to rehab. And I'm going to do it right this time. And there's a day coming through these heart-to-heart meetings about systemic racism where white culture will say, I'm going to do it right this time because I finally see it. And I'm not going to deflect and say satanic elites and aliens from outer space, Anunnaki aliens from planet Nibiru are ruling over us in the form of anti-racist activists. White culture one day will stop saying, "Well, we don't have to deal with our with our racism because there's the Koreans are prejudiced against the Filipinos. So why should we have to deal with because you're you and they're them. God is dealing with them also. This is you we're talking about. Don't piss your destiny down your leg just because somebody else is doing it." All right, and they'll say, "We finally see it." And we know from the Holy Spirit that harmonization will give us much more joy, a joy that needs no sugar added, because the joy will be in the move of the Spirit for harmonization. And we give up pocket change, and we get back the dollars. We give up our pocket change, and we get back the dollars. But you have to see it, and you have to catch the vision from the Spirit. And you have to stop deflecting. You have a white culture. You have a defense mechanism, just like the rapist man. Because we're never. No, you the pool, Arby's. No, what are you talking about? And he just would not. He would not go there. He would not see himself. He would not say, "Okay, yeah, we went to the hotel room afterwards. This took place." He wouldn't do it. Just like white culture will not see their heart attitude inherited from colonialism, slavery, slaughter of the Native Americans, and their pride in Columbus, who killed 12 million brown people, dismembered their bodies, tortured them for days, raped them, and paraded their dismembered body parts around town for all to celebrate. And they still say, "Happy Columbus Day." Well, fuck you. Fuck you and your God, if that's the Christian God that you serve. That God is being booted off this planet. It's the God of hierarchy. It's the spirit of the age. It's Adam in the cool of the day. So the universe is basically saying, we've tried this for 2,000 years. We've tried hierarchy, where the ethereal part of you is valued above the earthy part of you, the feminine energy, the part of you that is Mother Earth, the part of you that is emotion. So for 2,000 years, you've made your emotions simply align. Your emotions have had, the earthy part of you is emotion and sexuality. Your sexuality has had no purpose in itself other than to serve the marriage bed. in a legally binding marriage. The only place your sexuality could find any expression was in that marriage bed. And your emotions could find no outlet other than supporting the vision of spirit. Your emotions could not emanate in and of themselves to do her job. She could never do her job. Because the laws of the universe and the collective agreement of mankind and all the religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Sufism, Islam, all the religions have said the woman has to just submit to the man. You've demonized the ego as if everybody's ego, sense of self, was arrogance. No, it's the field of potentialities. It's the power of choice. You dip in, you look in, and you see what's there, and you bring forth whatever you want. Love, joy, peace, or arrogance and white supremacy. And so the woman's job, which is the ego or the sense of self, whereas the spirit is the sense of the heavenly. The spirit has been the sense of cosmic oneness. I'm one with the laws that we decided on. The woman, because of the age of Pisces and all the religions, were the Gospel of Thomas 1:14 said the woman will become the man. In other words, the emotions and sexuality will not be who God created them to be. The emotions and sexuality have only one purpose and one purpose only, is that to serve the man. Her job is to serve the man. So you bring your emotions up through the law of attraction and just support and just align. A lot of times you're lying. A lot of times it's not true. You trick your conscious mind into believing for a good outcome. And it does press the elements. It does press the subatomic particles to the degree possible, especially if you are in a social scenario where the positive outcome is favorable for you. Then all you do is use the law of attraction, which is the word of faith or the faith movement in Christianity, whether you use a deity or not. So the emotion's job, the feminine energy's job, was simply to come up, be seated in the heavenly places in your ethereal spirit, and simply support the good outcome, whether it felt that way or not. And then if it didn't feel that way, if it felt scared, if it felt unresolved anger, unresolved issues, then oh well, you're just going to sit there with that the rest of your life until it rots so much, until the negative finally overtakes. And that's how you see all the scandal. That's how you see spiritual advisor to Trump, Robert Summers, raping a 12-year-old girl and admitting to it, but then blaming the 12-year-old girl. She seduced me. And the Christians just celebrate these people, celebrate the Catholic priests raping little boys, celebrate all the Baptists, the Southern Baptist Convention ministers. They're having to sell all their properties because of all the lawsuits against sexual assault. Donald Trump, in a jury of his peers, was convicted of sexual assault. It's the nature of hierarchy. Your spirit dominates your flesh, so now you're sexually dominate others. It bleeds over into your very sexual orientation eventually. And so you have a culture of rape, like IDF. Look for the videos. Israel raping. There are camps right now, safe houses where they're just bringing not just women, men too, to just rape to death, because IDF believes in chosen race supremacy through the Talmud. The Talmud says that non-Jewish people are not human, They're just animals that God created to serve the Jews. So this Talmudic Zionism, they have no conscience because they don't believe that these Palestinians are even people. And Christians kind of think that way too. Because chosen race supremacy, even if we are spiritual Israel, will always be rape culture, even if it's only as metaphor as Genesis. Have dominion. Dominion theology. As in your manifest sonship, we have dominion over the earth. What we speak is what happens. Well, now we're going forward. The universe said that time is over. Hierarchy is over. Those stars that guided you have fallen. That Lucifer has fallen. And Matthew 24 says the stars will fall for a new, and he was talking about the age change from the age of Aries to the age of Pisces, but 2,000 years later, the same pattern. That's why I teach the New Testament. Not to draw people to the New Testament, but to show the pattern that just as the pattern changed from the law to grace, you can study that pattern, how that happened, and apply it to today's change, which is from grace to equality. Grace is not equality. Grace is making the feminine energy align as a slave Paul said it this way: I am a prisoner of Jesus Christ. So grace is making the feminine energy of emotion and sexuality to align with the Spirit's purpose. The Spirit doesn't have those human appetites. That's why in Pentecostal holiness we got delivered from all human appetites to think we were doing God's will. And we were doing the will of the God of the age. But the God of the age has nothing to do with the Creator. It's just a phase we're going through in an age. When you're 10 years old, you're thinking and doing things that when you're 50 and look back, oh my God, what was I doing? What was I thinking? When I was 10, I didn't know. I was so ignorant. So as mankind grows out of this age of hierarchy and into harmonization, the feminine energy needs no covering, no guidance, no sugar. She is complete in and of herself, just like the man, the ethereal spirit, is complete in and of himself. And now as equals with full respect towards each other, they come together as equals, not one submitted to the other, but as equals they come together and produce the third kind of being is called the Son of Man. When they're separate, when the Word of God is quick, powerful, and sharp to divide between soul and spirit, between masculine and feminine within, when they're separate through the age of the Piscean laws, where the diagram was two fish, and you only look through the eye of one fish. That's the single eye of Jesus. But in the age of Aquarius, they will respect each other, come together, and whereas Paul said, I know that in me, Paul said these words in the epistle, I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good thing. In other words, in the woman is no good thing. Then he would write in another episode, another epistle, he would write, the woman was in the transgression, not the man. So everything is in the Piscean age was blaming the feminine energy of emotion and sexuality as being sin, being the devil, being the reason for all catastrophes. They blamed, in Gnostic Christianity, they blamed Sophia for the fall. In Christianity traditional, they blamed Eve for the fall. It's always the woman's fault. Everything is the fault of the soul realm, and that they say the spirit never fell. Well, the spirit was of an age that made it seem like it was the feminine energy's fault for everything, that you have to tame your beast, tame your body, or the early Gnostics would say your job in this life is to escape the prison of the body. The body is evil. The human body is evil. We must escape it, and that's liberation. No. Dwelling in the glories and the joys of the body needs no sugar added. It is a reward in and of itself because the body is holy. It is the Holy Grail, and we've been looking for the Holy Grail, the Holy of Holies in the ethereal realm, but the Holy of Holies was always in your physical body the whole time. It's the Ark of the Covenant, and we're going to get that right this time. Okay? We went from animal sacrifice, calling ourselves sinners and God needs blood to forgive us. And then we went from that to grace, to identifying only. So we went from identifying only as sinners in the animal sacrificial system around the world to identifying only as spirit. So we went from identifying as sinful flesh, and then we identified as Holy Spirit. But now we're going to have our eyes flooded with light and see that the flesh was holy the whole time. And the only reason we made bad choices is because we were born programmed to believe that the flesh and the soul realm and the emotions and sexuality were sinful. So then when we pronounced it sinful, it became sinful, and this is how you have the Dalai Lama in front of the whole world trying to grab Lady Gaga's crotch over and over, and she's sitting there so disturbed. This is how you have the author of Grace and Intimacy with God, at the pastor of IHOP, International House of Prayer, having sex with several women in the congregation. They said manipulated him by his church position. Doesn't sound consensual to me. This is how you have rape culture. It starts with your spirit dominating the flesh because you believe your flesh or the woman, the feminine energy is evil, and you see women as objects. You see women as sinful. You see women as seductress. You see women as the devil when you're in these groups. And it bleeds into society, and society somehow is influenced by the religions. And so the age is now changing. The cool of the day is now changing. Always Eve changes Adam. Always the feminine energy sees and understands things first before the spirit could ever understand it. Because the spirit dwells detached from earth. The spirit is in the heavenly realm, the heavenly dimension, the element of air. It can't possibly understand the element of earth because it's not the element of earth. This element of air cannot understand the element of earth. Only the element of earth can understand earth to earth relationship, humanity relating to one another. That's why Eve, the feminine energy, the first man is, Paul said it this way, the first person, the first being that we are, is earthy. The first person is of the earth, earthy. The second person is the Lord from heaven. So he thought we were supposed to stop right there. That's the end all be all of truth. But the third man is the fusion of the heaven and earth. And so I think you got it. I think you got this. I feel it in the spirit. People are catching this. So take it further and keep ruminating in these things. I need not say any more because I feel it. I feel it in the spirit. People caught it. Good job. Awesome.